What's going on, everybody? It is Paul here, back with another episode of Butt Crack Cycles. It is a nice fall morning here in South Carolina where I live, and I thought I would sit down and do my price episode. If y'all are brand new to this channel, like I just said, my name's Paul. This is my YouTube channel. This is also my small business. Butt Crack Cycles is my small business. I started this like as a side gig a couple of years ago in 2022, and it's slowly but steadily turned into like my full-time thing. I'm not quite there yet with motorcycles being my full-time job, but I'm rapidly getting there as we speak now. So side note, if you like this video or you like other videos on this channel and you want to support the channel beyond just watching videos and liking and subscribing and leaving comments and all that crap, which I do appreciate, you can check out my web store, buttcrackcycles.com. I've got like shirts, stickers, small parts, such for sale up there. So I do appreciate that if you've ever bought anything. So with that out of the way, got to have a little shameless self-promotion, right? We're going to do an episode that I do basically every single year. So like I said, old Harleys are my business, and I make money in different ways. I make a little bit of money in a lot of different places. I make some money here on YouTube. I make some money on the web store. I make money buying and selling parts. I make money buying and selling bikes. And then the bulk of it is fixing bikes for other people. But because I'm always kind of looking for bikes to buy, to then fix, and then turn around and flip and resell, I find myself browsing Facebook Marketplace very regularly, and this gives me a pretty good idea of what bikes are selling for. At the very least, what people are asking for bikes. And I do a video basically every year around this time of year about that, where we sit down out here in my little building, and I'll pull up my phone, which I'll get out in just a minute, and I'm kind of off to the side for a reason. We're going to put up, you know, over here, thank you, Vanna, like a screen record of my phone screen. And what I'm going to do is we're going to browse for bikes for sale to give you a general idea about what I think you should pay for an older Harley. So for the purposes of this video, older Harley is going to be defined as Evo engine and earlier if we're talking big twins, and then rigid mounted Sportsters, so 03 and earlier on the Sporties. And I do want to say that I'm going to limit this video to just big twins. What I'm going to do with the Sportster is we'll do another video, maybe like next week, about current marketplace values on Sporties, because there are some screaming deals on Sportsters right now. Like, they are selling for absolutely nothing this fall and winter. I don't know what happened to the Sportster marketplace. All I can tell you is I have been fighting very, very hard not to keep bringing Sportsters home. So Sporties will be their own video. Anyways, let's jump into big twins. I'll tell y'all how I'm going to do it. And kind of the format that I'm going to do for this video is we're going to work our way through Harley big twin history from sort of older to newer, and we're going to search for a few bikes, show some like real world values of what people are asking for these bikes right now. I'll kind of give my opinion on if I think it's a good or a bad deal. Y'all can discuss in the comments, and then I'll wrap up each section of bikes, so Panhead, Shovelhead, and Evo, with like my sort of price range of what I think they're selling for and what I think you should pay for a bike in those categories. And so that should give you like some bit of you know, a sample size of the current marketplace right now in November of 2025. Okay, so we've got the phone in my hand. We're gonna open up Facebook and go to Facebook Marketplace. So let's pull up the search. You can see like where I've been searching for stuff. These are things I kind of search for regularly. But let's kind of go backwards and work our way forwards in terms of age. So the first thing we're going to search for is Panheads. That's about as far back as I really go with things I own and things that I work on. And I can't afford a knucklehead, and I bet most people watching this channel can't either. Alright, so we got Panhead typed in. Here's one bike that pops up. It's a 57. This is a picture from the Congregation show. They're asking 25 grand for this bike. It's a little pricey, but honestly the Panhead market has been up. I kind of personally think they'll sit on that bike for a while at 25. At 20 they probably could sell it. a little bit faster. But let's keep scrolling. Here's a 52 FL. Doesn't really look too bad, I guess. These aren't the greatest pictures. Asking 14 grand for it. Salvage title. Bike was not wrecked. It was in a fire. The roof of my garage caught fire, but the tanks never caught fire or the seat. Just hot enough it turned all the paint dark. Insurance totaled it and I bought it back. Meh. That's a hard sell for me. Here's a 58 FL. They're asking 10 for it. This is a pan shovel, so Panhead bottom end, Shovelhead top end. Some people that's a benefit. A lot of people these days it's not. That's something that is done for performance reasons, was fairly common in the past. These days I think most Panhead buyers want an original bike, and so I think that's why this bike is 10. I personally wouldn't be scared of that at 10 for this. I don't know. There's some stuff about it I don't necessarily like, but there's not really too much you couldn't change really quickly, and you could throw an actual legit Panhead top end back on this thing. Doesn't say anything about a title, but I don't know. For 10 grand, that doesn't look too bad to me. Shovel top 92C, 92 cubic inch. No expense spared, blah, 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 blah. Clear title. Rigid frame bike. I mean, another pan shovel deal. Again, it's not an original bike, so if that's what you're looking for, you're probably not into that. Yeah, so we're not really finding too much in the way of Panheads. I could probably sit here for a while longer and turn up 1 or 2 more listings. I'm not too surprised by this. Pans are, I don't know, kind of interesting to me in that they are like just expensive enough and just rare enough that you don't see them all the time, and it's not something that I think most people have or most people can own, like just regular like working class folks. And so you get this thing where it's like they're not all the way up there like Knuckles are, but they're definitely more expensive than shovels are. And a lot of the people buying Panheads are like really particular right now, it seems like. I'm talking to some guys that I know and I do some work for sometimes, that are really into that older stuff, and the pans and the knuckles and the flatheads. They're like dealing on bikes in a level that I could not aspire to anytime soon, at least. Those guys are all basically telling me the same thing. Everybody wants an original bike, an original bike, an original bike, an original bike. They don't want choppers. They don't want customs. They don't want pan shovels. They want all original, numbers matching. Some patina is even like good. If it's all original, originality is like key for so many of those guys. And it sounds like a lot of these Panhead guys that are collectors are very, very nitpicky about the tiniest little last details on one of these bikes, especially being like, oh, it's this 1 year only or that 1 year only. So with all of that being said, I think that probably a lot of Panheads are not going to be found on Facebook Marketplace, and the ones that are found on Facebook Marketplace are the stuff that like we just kind of saw, like they're okay. Like, I don't know, some of those didn't look too bad to me as somebody coming to it from the perspective of I just want something to ride. I don't necessarily care about originality. Right now, I kind of think like rider quality pans are like 10 to 12 is where I see them. The rigid frame stuff, factory rigid frame stuff, seems to bring more money than the later Duo Glide, so has a swing arm. And yeah, I think you can get like a rider Panhead in either maybe a little bit rougher factory shape or in some sort of like customized chopper shape for like 10 to 12, maybe 14 on the high end. And then when you get into the stuff that's like everything's detailed and perfect and all original and all the little tiny little 1 year only things are there, that stuff, like I said, tends to sell more. The older the better, 48 or 49 or 50, like a hand tank, your hand shift, you know what I'm trying to say, tank shift, hand shift bike is more desirable. that earlier all original rigid frame stuff, then you're like into the 20s, 22, 25, 27, whatever. And that's just what people are asking. It's not necessarily what people are getting. Okay, let's do some shovels. My personal faves, just, I don't know, it's a bike that, an engine, I guess, that I'm pretty familiar with. I obviously own a Shovelhead. It's been a Troublehead for a while. I bought it pretty cheap. But there's still a lot of good deals out there in Shovelhead land. Shovel values have kind of slowly and steadily gone up over the last few years, but really, like, you can still buy these things pretty cheap. If you're looking for a big twin vintage Harley, the cone shovel is like really the go-to. Just know that a $4,000 Shovelhead is probably going to cost you that much again to get everything right and everything fixed on it. Just throwing that out there. So, with that being said, let's see what we get for Shovelhead. Very first thing up here is an FLT. This is $3,500. Motor and transmission completely rebuilt, run strong, clear title in hand. You see, I actually have this saved. FLTs are kind of like the ugly duckling of Harley Big Twins. FXRs catch some flack, or at least they used to catch some flack for being too Japanese or handling too good or whatever people used to say about them. I don't know. I wasn't around. I mean, I was alive when the FXR came out, but I wasn't riding them. Duh, I was a kid. The point being, though, is that the FLT is another sort of like ugly duckling. You can see them swiping through these pictures. This really doesn't look bad for $3,500. Yes, it's not an FLH. Yes, it's not an FX. It's not a Super Glide. Yes, it is the weird, oddball, rubber-mounted FLT. It's strange. It's the Tour Glide. It has those like backwards reversed, like the triple trees or whatever, I think, on them, if I'm remembering this correct, are like strange. But I've heard people say they ride good. That's a bike that, I don't know, it's not that far away from me. I might actually go buy that. I'm not saying I will, but that something like that wouldn't scare me. Here's an 81 RevTech transmission, runs but needs rewiring, some TLC, clear title. This bike has been for sale forever. This bike was for sale, I think, like last year. So either they're just not updating the listing, or they just are not willing to budge on the price at all. Let's see, what else do we have? This looks good. 81 electric kickstart, less than 100 miles on new motor, so they say. Doesn't say anything about a title. Only one picture. $4,700 though. If it's legit, if it has a title, if they have some kind of paperwork proving the engine really was just rebuilt for $4,700, I don't think you can go bad there. Here's a full-on bagger if you're into baggers. It's FLHTC. 44,600 miles, complete service, 2 new tires, rear brake pads, 500 miles ago, have the tour pack, 5,500. That's kind of a lot of miles, but hey, someone's been out riding this thing, and I guess that's good. I don't know, 55 is maybe a little more than I would want to be into that bike for, but it might be for you. Here's an interesting one. This is titled as a 2000. It's a custom Harley deal. It's 80-inch shovel, 6-speed transmission, 3-inch belt drive, and a soft tail frame, wide glide front end. This is kind of, I don't want to say it's ugly looking. It's awkward looking. Like at first glance, you're like, oh, it's a soft tail, and then you're like, oh no, it's a Shovelhead. It's both. Interesting. Probably not for me, but might be for someone else. $5,800. Who knows? All right, here's a 79. This is an FX style bike, red. Looks like they've got a video of it running here at the start. Listing says good title, has been garage kept for the last 10 years. I mean, this isn't too bad looking. I wish they had a few more pictures of it, but looks like it's kind of patinaed there on the tanks, and doesn't have a dashboard in it in between the tanks. Yeah, no dash in between the tanks. Where'd that go? That was $4,500 though. That's something that I'm saying, like, it's clean title, looks like it runs, it needs a little work, but $4,500 these days is like really what you can expect to pay for a bike like that. Like, that's something you could ride at home if you live fairly close, or throw it on a trailer and bring it home, and like it runs and it rides, and you could probably go ride it to the bar or over to your buddy's house the same weekend you buy it, and then know that like over the winter time you're going to spend a little money on it, throw $1,000 into the bike, and then by springtime, like, you know, maybe you have $5,500 or $6,000 in the thing. And it's a decent bike, so there's still plenty of deals out there. Oh, I was excited about this one. It's a 69, so it's a generator shovel. FL. I think that's a really good looking bike, but he says selling his parts, no title. Everything works. Big Twin frame, STD cases, kickstart only. Blah blah blah. Pete Hill put the motor together, etc., etc. OEM sheet metal. I like that bike. $8,000's a lot for something with no title. Obviously, some people know how to get titles for this stuff, but the sort of what was it? The Vermont or Maine like loophole that a lot of people were using got closed a year or two ago. I don't know if that's what you're into, is trying to buy a bike with no title and then get it titled. Maybe that's not a bad deal at 8. Obviously the generator shovel stuff is more desirable and sells for more than cone shovel stuff. The Jenny shovel stuff is like a little more in line with Panhead prices, but I guess that would be for you to decide. All right, here's a generator shovel with a title. This is a 68. It's up for $11,000. He's got a video going down the road on this thing. Starts easy, runs strong. Period correct Harley parts. Almost no aftermarket anything. Original cases. Some y'all can read this with me. Blah 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 blah. Has a title. Leaks some oil. Yeah, it's kind of a choppery vibe with a swing arm. I like this. This is cool. This is up my alley. This is something I would ride and something I would own. Don't know I'd pay $11 for it, but someone probably will. And finally, this will be the last shovel we look at on this video for right now. This is actually my dream bike. This is an 82 FXR. So that, if I'm remembering this right, is the first year of FXR production, and only one of, I guess, 2 or 3 years, I think it would be 2 years, that you could get a shovel in an FXR. 82 and 83, I think 84 all FXRs had Evo. Someone correct me about that in the comments if I'm wrong. 84 was you could get a shovel or an Evo in the Big Twins, but I for some reason had it in my head that all 84 FXRs were Evos, but maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Sometimes people like to drag me in the comments because I'll say something like that and they're like, no, you're wrong, actually there were 137 of this produced in this year in small quantities, and it was only in this model, and it was only the ones that were painted yellow on a Tuesday. I don't necessarily commit all of those tiny little minute year-by-year details to memory. So in any event, a Shovel FXR is my dream bike. This one's $6,000, new battery and regulator, runs good, needs a clutch adjustment, but I might get it done before it sells. It takes literally 5 minutes, so it needs a clutch. Might trade for an FXR with an Evo motor, have the tach and speedometer for it, extra set of bars. Doesn't say anything about a title. $6,000. That's probably going to sit there for a while at 6, because there's so many people who want an FXR with an Evo just for the reliability. You get the handling that the FXR has and the Evo reliability. There's not a lot of wackos out there like me who would pay more for a Shovel FXR. I don't even know that I would pay 6 for this. I screwed up. I missed a Shovel FXR as an 83. I should have bought it. I had the money for it at the time. It popped up around this time last year on my marketplace, like 2 hours away west of me, and the guy was asking $3,800 for it. It ran, and he had a title, and I didn't go buy it. I wish I had gone and bought it. Alright, so that wraps us up for shovels. Let's do like a real quick value wrap up on Shovelheads before we move on to Evo bikes. Generator shovels, so the first couple years of Shovelhead production, flat side shovel, generator shovel, slab side shovel, whatever you want to call them, those bikes obviously sell for more. Those are the bikes that are in that like $10,000 to $12,000 price range that people are asking for them. Cone shovels, the later shovels, so 70 till end of production 84. Yes, I know they made like 500 police bikes in 85 with Shovelhead, but 70 to 84 really is your cone shovel production. Those bikes are kind of all over the place. People will ask 8 for like a really nice one that's original and doesn't really need anything, and then you can get them all the way down to like $2,000 and $3,000 for projects. So yeah, the cone shovel, like I said at the start of this, is kind of the last bastion of cheap pre-Evo Big Twin Harley Davidsons. That's a bike you can still buy for $3 or $4 grand, especially right now when it's starting to get cold. You can bring it home, tear it down over the winter, and then sink a little more money into it and have something by springtime to be riding around on. Okay, let's hunt for some Evo Big Twins and talk about Evo Big Twin value. This is actually going to be the hardest one to pin a value on just because there are so many different models of Evo Big Twin. When you were in the Panhead years, all of the bikes essentially were the same. They were all FLs. Yeah, you had FLEs and FLHs, whatever. And then in the Shovelhead years, you basically only had two bikes. You had an FL or an FX, and then we saw the two outliers there, the FLT and the FXR. But really, like 90% of your shovels are either FL or FX. By the time you get into the Evo years, 80s and 90s, that's when Harley really started diversifying their product lineup. And so you have Evo Big Twins that are in everything from a Dynaglide to a fully dressed bagger with like the soft tail kind of ish in the middle, and then there's like 4 or 5 different models of soft tail. Soft tail is what we're going to start with first. These are probably what I think is the best buy in Evo Big Twins right now, though I haven't been seeing as many of them for sale right now currently in like November of 2025 as I was like 6 months ago. Strangely, I've been seeing more Dynas for sale at cheaper prices than I have soft tails, but let's look for soft tails. All right, so let's start with this one. This is a 91 Heritage soft tail. I think that's a pretty decent looking bike, kind of a little bit of a dad bike sort of look, which is honestly kind of growing on me. There's a bunch of stuff I would personally strip off of it and parse it down a little, make it a little more minimalistic, but this is a really good start to a motorcycle. It says garage kept, still have most original parts, a lot of aftermarket accessories. Doesn't say anything about the title. $4,250. If they have a clean title and it's a running riding bike, that's a bike I bet you could show up and buy for $3,800 cash and probably ride it home and have something, it's good and reliable. Like, these things are really good buys right now. In fact, I think I'm going to save that one. That might be something I maybe go try and make a deal on. All right, so here's a 98 soft tail. It's orange. The color's probably killing it on this one. I'm not sure what this description is about. Manufactured by Ultra Motorcycle Company, so maybe this is not Harley title. Don't know what's going on here. S&S super stock engine. Needs throttle housing, throttle cable, rear brake, master cylinder, still rideable, $3,000. I don't know. Just something I found, throwing it out there. Y'all tell me if you think it. Here's a 92 4500 firm motor, been rebuilt 2 years ago. Runs and rides great, clean North Carolina title. I don't know. I kind of like that other one we just looked at better, but $4,500 still, we're not breaking the bank on it. Let's jump over here to an 88. One crappy screenshot picture, and then, well, got a video of the thing running, so that's a start. They say 98. Is it a 98? Is it an 88? Who knows? Softail has been switched to chain drive. Bike runs great. Needs tires. S&S carb. $3,750 or best offer. But then the description says $3,550. It's Facebook Marketplace. Who knows? All right, and I think this will be our last Evo Softail we look at. Here's a 96 Heritage. Again, plenty of chrome and doodads and such. 6,000 miles on it. Cranks and runs great. Little rust on the chrome. Sat for a while. 4,000 firm, but then they've got it marked out down to 3. And then the first picture is showing like the slip-ons and such, and the crash bar has some chrome on it. Hey, you probably could live with a little bit of rust for $3 grand. You could probably get them down on the price a little bit too. And those Evo Softails are pretty good bikes. So let's jump away from Softails. Let's look at some Dynas. Then we'll look at some baggers. We'll look at some FLs. All right, here is a 98 Dynaglide. Dyna Super Glide. Says runs and rides great. Just don't have the time to ride as much as I used to. $3,350. I don't know, kind of funky wheels on that one. Not entirely my speed, but I don't know, I could probably learn to like them. 55,000 miles. It's not killed with miles. Bet it needs a top end at some point if it hasn't already been done, though. $3,350 on that one. Here's a 97 Dyna Wide Glide. This is just down the street for me. This looks like a fairly nice bike. Again, a goofy set of wheels on this thing. 46,000 miles, red, asking $4,000, but it's been up for 7 months. So either there's something wrong with it, or they're just not willing to negotiate, like, at all. Here's another 98 Super Glide. You can see I've saved this one. Has just some regular spoke wheels for a change. It says it runs and rides. Everything works on it except for the odometer, so unknown mileage. Again, there's a bunch of stuff on this I would probably rip right off. Turn signals, crash bars, I don't know, some old man kind of stuff going on here. But that's just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not for you. I need to make sure I make that point when I'm sitting here looking through these bikes saying, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's just my taste. So someone might look at this bike and say, $3,500, this has a clean title, I'm in, and I wouldn't change a thing to it. And cool, like, that's the point of this video, is that there's plenty of bikes out here at a really affordable price point. The Dynaglides, like I said, seem to be right now selling like cheaper than the Softails. Side note, I'm trying to buy an Evo Big Twin over the winter. I wanted to try and take some more motorcycle trips next year in 2026. I want to try and take at least one on the Shovelhead, like good long trips, like 500, 600, 700 miles. But that thing's just been such an aggravation here lately. It's almost got me to the point where I'm like, maybe I might just buy an Evo Big Twin and take some trips on it while I continue working on the shovel. I don't know. I'm rambling. So the Evo Dynaglides are kind of scratching my itch right now, even though I think I might like a Softail better. I don't know. I've ridden them both. The Dynas are more fun, but the Softails do ride better to me. Finally, here's a 98 Wide Glide. Says it has new tires, front and rear, starter, carburetor, speaker, and radio. I don't care about that. Ready to ride, 4,900 firm, maybe a little bit high, but this does look like a pretty nice bike. 7,977 miles on it. I don't know, maybe a little bit steep, but it does look nice. Kind of like a purple paint job. I like the purple myself personally. That's probably not a draw for as many people as it is me. So last but not least, let's look at some baggers. Let's look up, let's try Electric Glode. Hee, I can't type. Alright, so here's an 87 Electric Glide. Asking $4,500 for it, red and black. Doesn't say anything about title, doesn't say anything about running status. If we assume that it runs, rides, shifts, and stops, has a clean title, needs nothing, $4,500. It's not terrible. It's not the best deal I've ever seen, but it's not awful. All right, here's a cheap one. This is an 85, so first full year of the Evo Electric Glide, red. Doesn't look terrible in these pictures, at least. Kind of a long listing, but basically it sounds like he's had a whole new charging system put in it, some kind of bracket that it needs for a starter. It needs a starter bracket, front tire, blah 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 blah. 2,800 or best offer. Who knows what the story is on that? Maybe it's a complete turd. Maybe it's a steal for somebody watching this. All right, here's a 97 Electric Glide. This bike's overall good, has a few cosmetic issues, runs and rides. $4,000. Only 2 pictures. Not a whole lot of information, not a whole lot to go off of, but $4,000 isn't terrible. And finally, let's wrap it up with this one. Here's a 95 Electric Glide. 15 pictures, tour pack. This thing looks pretty darn clean. Yeah, so somebody's taking care of this bike, it looks like, from these pictures. 51,000 miles, so somebody's been riding this bike too. Good for them. But the inside of that tour pack and the inside of the saddlebags looks pretty nice. $5,000. See video and photos, brand new battery. If it's posted, it's for sale. It's been up for 2 months. Probably go offer them $4,000 in cash, and I doubt they'll say no to that. We'll wrap this up on that one right there. And then kind of like our summation here of Evo Big Twin bikes is as follows. $5,000 goes a long way in the Evo Big Twin marketplace right now in the fall of 2025. These are reliable bikes. These are good bikes. They're old enough, I think, that they're, you know, simple to work on. Parts are readily available, easy to find, and you can fix them on the side of the road. But they're new enough, and the Evo engine has a lot of really great designed, engineered features into it that make it significantly more reliable than the Shovelhead that it replaced. So you can actually go ride this stuff instead of being sitting around working on it all of the time. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I like working on my old stuff. I like working on other people's old stuff, but there's a lot of people, I understand, who just want to go ride a bike, and then when it comes time to fix it, they don't want to have to deal with a bunch of computers. So the Evos are wonderful from that sense, and as you can see from this video, there are some fantastic deals out there in Evo marketplace land. Maybe not fantastic deals from the sense of if you're trying to flip bikes, but if you're just looking to go buy something to own and be proud of and ride it and keep it for several years, you really can't go wrong in Evo land. Getting older than that, like I said, cone shovels still rule when it comes to pre-Evo stuff for like your regular working class blue collar person. And then the generator shovels and the panheads, that's a little bit more for the rich guys, which is fine. No hate on those guys either. And then obviously I own a panhead, but the only reason I own it is because I inherited it. If I didn't inherit that bike, I could never own a panhead. So I just need to clear the air on that before someone says, "But you have a panhead, Paul." Yeah, you're right, but I just like super grateful and super lucky about that bike. Like, yeah. Anyways, I hope this video was informative. I hope this video was useful. I hope this video was entertaining. I do a video like this basically every year where we sit down and talk about Harley values. Anyways, thanks for everybody who watches this channel, for all your support, anybody who's ever bought something from me, and anyone who's ever brought me a bike to have fixed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See y'all on the next one. Bye.